Okay, I'll call the meeting to order at 7:30. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Gail Schinzer-Eisberg.
Here.
Trustee Mark Peterson.
Here.
Trustee Stephen Mosher. Here. Do we have our assessor Jan Church online?
She's present.
Okay, and do we have any of our trustees online?
No.
No, okay, so Administrator and Deputy Clerk Larisha Pearson.
Here.
Excellent. Madam Supervisor, we have a quorum for business.
Stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You. Supervisors report.
Yeah, come up with that. That's best, yeah. Use right. Regardless of your policy.
Okay. We had an exciting couple weeks, even though it's just the summer here in the township. Obviously, lots of parades going on. The Winnetka and Glencoe 4th of July parades happened, and we were able to get both of those off before the rains hits. We were able to hand out hundreds and hundreds of candy canes. Because we received candy canes and donations after Christmas, and we cannot hand them out quick enough when it comes time for the actual season. And kids were so entertained by this. So it was like a Christmas in July thing going on. And they're like a novelty in July. So we also had our bubble machines going, so that was great. I would encourage everyone to join me in the future. Because I'm running out of, my children keep leaving. They won't do it with me. We've also had a number of sidewalk sales in Glencoe and Wilmette, supporting some of the social enterprises that support our nonprofit agencies. So come on out. The last one is in Winnetka this coming weekend, and we are participating as a township. We'll have a table outside. So come on out for that. We also had a very successful furniture drive for the for the Chicago Furniture Bank. They came to the Lutheran Church in Wilmette, across from the library. We've had a few snafus with the trucks not coming timely, or so we are working to try to figure out a way that will be fixed for the future, because that's the second year that's been an issue. It always works out. It just gives us a little bit of and Kate McNally is present. Kate, are you participating pursuant to our remove policy? Not seeing a yes. Well, Wesley's doing muted. I don't think she is. So.
Okay.
Okay. So the furniture drive was wonderful though, and thank you to the church for giving us that space, and for members of the junior board for the Chicago Furniture Bank for joining us. We also had a few volunteers from the Volunteer Center as well. We had a number of Pride events that I participated in throughout the community during June. And we also held our Angel Fund meeting. As you know, as supervisor, I'm also president of the Angel Fund. Trustee Moser participated as well. The biggest update from those meetings is that at the meeting last week was the approval of funds for the food pantry ban, which is an exciting moment in New Trier Township. And we are hoping to also receive additional grant funding for that as well. That received a very good price after some negotiations and incentives. So more about that to come. We also chaired the Intergovernmental Cooperation Committee meetings regarding civility. The committee did finish its work and proposed a number of actions to improve civility. Next, it'll go to the various administrators regarding how to implement those. The biggest ones are trainings for elected officials as part of the general orientation process as a part of the new electeds. So our board is not elected every 2 years, it's every 4 years, but many of the other governments are. As well as a training program and a seminar series across the city, and then a voluntary civility pledge for those running for office to lead by example. We'll also be maintaining a list of kind of third places where people can meet each other in a informal way to hopefully build bridges. So more on that to come. And that completes my service as chair. We also had our first agency lunch of the new fiscal year. Most of our agency partners that came and joined us. The theme was travel. So I do have a list of great locations that all of our agency partners enjoyed. But we also got some wonderful updates about new buildings, about new directors, new programs. Some of the ones that were most exciting, I think, are the Glencoe Family Services new building, as well as Haven's new camp program, which we just posted about on our social medias. It's a very reasonably priced program meant for those who might fall through the cracks in those last couple weeks of summer. But they'll still have their drop-in program during that process. So that's very exciting. I also went to the opening of Pauper Place, which is the new affordable housing development with assisted housing for those with disabilities in Northbrook, and got some information on kind of how they got it to happen. They did use Housing Development Opportunity Corporation, which is the same nonprofit that did Cleveland Place. So hopefully we will learn from their examples. Yesterday, I participated in the housing committee meeting for Wilmette to learn about some of the different ways that they're thinking about adding affordable housing, and offered information about the nonprofits that we already work with, because a lot of it was about them providing those resources to seniors and people with disabilities so they can stay in their homes. And I said, what a coincidence. We already have that. You just have to tell them about it. So yeah, as per usual, we just have to make sure people know about the great work we're doing. The Wilmette Park District also invited myself and Jean to speak about the childcare scholarships, which we did last night as well, to discuss the longstanding partnership, and the Wilmette Foundation also spoke, because they also provide money towards that program. Childcare scholarship applications are due August 3rd, so those are open right now. And finally, much of our staff was able to go to the TAC meeting, the Township Officials of Cook County. It was at Rosemont. It was a wonderful program. So much respect to Austin, who created that, and to Kelvin Jordan and the whole board. Our board members, Jan, myself, and Jerome, were all honored for our service on the county board, the Township Officials Cook County Board. And I was surprised to receive a leadership award. So
Congratulations, that's great.
And I did host a program on the township code with Leader Williams. So hopefully we'll be implementing some of those sticking points that many of us identified during that program. But as a staff, we came together in the next week and we did do a debrief so that because we tried to have the staff go to different breakout sessions so that we could all get the information. Any questions on that?
Incredible outreach, it's very commendable. Your involvement is incredible. So on the housing, I learned, or you may already be aware of this, Moraine Township in Lake County, Highland Park area. They have a grant they have for housing, and they work with CPA, the Community Partnership for Affordable Housing. Might be something you may want to take a look at.
Absolutely, yes. Yeah. It does sound like a community, is it a community trust type of situation?
I believe so.
Yeah, it's part of, they were looking at Highland Park as well.
Okay.
That was brought up. So lastly, in my supervisor's report, you have a resume for Michael Innes, if you will take a look at that. And you have in your reports, Arnold let you know that there were more than 20 applicants for the assistant position for the food pantry. He and Larisha interviewed 5 of them, who they named were the most qualified, and Michael was the standout. I met with him then upon their recommendation, and it was extremely clear. We are very lucky to have someone like Michael who wants to give his considerable talents to New Trier Township, given volunteering at Moraine Township Pantry, and wanted something a bit more steady. So that said, I would like to approve Michael's appointment as New Trier Township Food Pantry Assistant.
So moved.
If there's any additional discussion?
I was surprised his resume I'm getting, so when I looked at it, I thought, why would he wanna do this? But obviously he does, so
He
it's
sure
a good fact that he will.
Yep,
Yeah, incredible experience and well traveled too.
exactly. So again,
Yeah.
if you have travel questions. Great. With that, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, and Kate concurs as well for the record. Okay. We are in line for the clerk's report. Oh, sorry, approval of minutes. We received May 12th, 2026 Board of Trustees minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second the motion.
Any discussion?
Jerome, I'm just commenting, you handled verifications and claims one way.
Yes.
In this minutes, and now you have a new method.
Exactly, and I wrestled on what to do, so I thought the second one, I see, is that what trustee Tucker is looking for, that much detail or less, so I thought I'd do it that way. And then see what she thinks, or you think, if you like that, I mean, it's kind of neat to have it in there. But I mean, either way, I'll do whatever you guys like.
Well, the other reason I'm questioning is, do we need any language in there that recites the fact that the numbers are based on what's presented to the board at the meeting, given what the accountant said about notification of claims?
Right, are we attaching them?
That's what I'm asking.
Yes, we are.
Okay,
It's in the financial report.
Okay, so
It's in there, so it's already attached, it's just that Jessica wanted clarification so that you didn't have to open up the attachments again. So I hope that's good, and I thank you for being so carefully reading them then. I hope you enjoyed these minutes, there's a lot of work, a lot of work.
all
Just a
right.
clarification on that, can you say as attached, so that
Sure.
you know that it is part of the document?
Sure,
Okay, that's
I
fine.
mean, please, and I can even fix that if that, I'll make that change.
Trustee Casale McNally.
Hi, friends. I bring regards from the East Coast. In Roman numeral 3, bullet number 7, I'd like to add Casal before McNally. Roman numeral 5, sentence 4, I'd also like to add Casal before McNally.
Wow, I don't know.
Roman numeral 6, paragraph 2, sentence 2, I believe that the word should be uncashed. Roman numeral 7, there's no trustee who's listed as having seconded the motion.
It would be in the vote thing, so all I need to do then is just add it from the actual vote that's listed there. So the narrative is different, so thank you.
Any additional edits?
Kate, that was unintended, leaving off Cassell. I just absolutely, unintended, just very complicated.
No problem, just
Sorry
those
about that.
4,
I will
3,
definitely
5,
correct.
6, and 7.
I got you, and my apologies, unintended.
All right. Any additional discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving with the proposed amendments, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, they're approved. We've also received June 9th, 2026 meeting minutes. Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? I don't like this version, but okay, we'll see, we'll see what Jeff likes to, but let's just try it, we'll just be consistent. Okay, seeing no additional discussion, all those in favor of approving, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, approved. All right, clerk's report.
Okay, so my clerk's report, I have 3 items to share with you this evening. One is that I wanted to announce to the board that Gail received a leadership award. Okay, you took my thunder, but I want to reiterate, it was pretty exciting. And I've served for years on this top board as a clerk's representative, and then the last 3 as secretary of the board. So I was really proud to give the roll call, Schomburg, and give all the roll call. And then secondly, the value of this tremendous. So I hope you'll all join us in the future. Kate, again, you'd love it if you weren't there. And if you were there, I'm sure you can testify. And it was also nice to have our whole staff, many members of our staff there congratulated. The second item we just have routine things like we had some FOIA requests, but the strange thing about FOIA requests are now they require a lot of work of our administrator and deputy clerk and financial manager, Larisha Pearson. And I do the perform, I respond to them, tell them we'll get to it, but it's always interesting, like corporations that want to mine our data about what contracts we have. I'm sure all they do is collect it and then monetize it. So it's kind of an odd feeling to spend so much time responding, but we're obligated to, and we do that. So then the third thing is a third thing is office hours. I held office hours again the last several months. I've been hosting it. I actually had a visitor today. And that was exciting. And we had a photo op in the clerk's office. I've done little renovations. It looks nice. So you can come on over. And then what was sweet. So in the office hours, I got to listen. And what I found so exciting is that I really love our staff, as we all do, but it's really nice. You admire all the things they do, particularly since I'm neighbors with the deputy assessor. I wasn't eavesdropping, I wasn't listening, I was observing. Wow, he has just the right touch with our residents. And if we talk about how do we deliver services, we should give a nice shout out to Deputy Assessor Mike Sexton, because he just got the right, I mean, he listened a long time to this residents' concerns, and he handled it beautifully. It reflects well on all of us, so you should know. Trustees and Trustee Cattell McNally, just know that Mike Sexton, big shout out, okay? Then the last thing, it's a very special personal thing. 3 weeks ago now, I was in Trier, Germany, and it's a big thing. It was my second visit. My first visit was during COVID, so I brought a lot of nuclear stuff from the high school and from us, but I put it in, the city hall is called Rathaus, and I put it in a bin, hoping. We never heard anything back. So I was a little dismayed. They're renovating the Porta Nigra, the Black Gate, the symbol of New Trier. And so I bought one of these logos, and I got a mug, and I've got a box of chocolates for you guys to share from Trier. So here, we'll start it around. Please help yourself and our guests too. There's enough. Please, you guys finish off these, because if I start in, it's not a good idea, because I'll polish them off. So please, everybody needs to eat a chocolate, our guests included, and Commander, you're commanded to eat a chocolate or two. Okay, and then being in Trier, Germany, it's not only our name place, but it's such a special town. The first town in Germany, the Roman fortress there, the edge of civilization for the empire for a long time. And they are renovating this building, which is kind of cool to think about. Wow, it's almost 2,000 years old, and they're getting to the renovation. So the excitement is, I, of course, love to engage. And I found out in the gift shop, the visitor center, I met a woman who's a big buddy of the mayor. So of course, we exchanged information, and we're gonna be online to celebrate with them when it's done. They'll have a big party, and I want to keep future connections between the township. She was absolutely tickled that we call our high school team the Trevians, and she just thinks it's fabulous and that we carry on their legacy. So that is my report, Madam Supervisor.
Okay. Financial report, I'm gonna seek a motion to table to later in the call. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none. We're now in line for public comment. Is there any public comment? No. Commander Bushy.
The only thing we did was, we helped out with NACO with traffic control for the fireworks. Everything went fine, people were in and out, a lot of the fireworks shows started early, so that we could get people, safely back home before those heavy storms hit, so things went down.
Absolutely. That's all. Thank you. We appreciate the support from the sheriff's office whenever you guys do, so. We know we had some tree branch issues, and we thank you guys for putting us in the right direction.
No problem.
In our small unincorporated area. With that, assessors report, Assessor Churchwell.
Hi, everybody. Again, just a very brief report. We finished closed for appeals to the county assessor on June 22nd. News was released, well, an update really, not news, was released last week that hopefully the property taxes, the second property tax bill for 2025 is in line to be released early September, hopefully with a due date, therefore, of early October. This is, dates are not yet known. And we were given this information and allowed to release it to put people on notice that hopefully this will go through, and therefore the tax bills will be 2 months late off the normal August 1st due date rather than 4.5, which will be much better. Oh, excuse me. And just briefly from my personal point of view as well, the TOC meeting, Township Officials of Cook County, was indeed a very enjoyable meeting. I thought the breakout sessions were excellent, well planned, well conducted. And the keynote speaker was none other than Patrick Hines, the assessor of Lyons Township, who will be the new assessor come the end of the year. And so naturally, for me, it was very interesting to have a chance to hear him talk about, some of the things that he has in mind. And I actually spent the dinner time with members of his township so I could pick their brains a little bit about the sorts of things he has planned. So I'm very much looking forward to having him in place. And I tell people that when they ask, what do I think of the incoming assessor, I just say, hooray. And I hope everybody, if people ask you, you will say the same. I think he's going to, well, let's say I can't guarantee any successes he will have, because I don't know what kind of constraints he may have under the law or the equipment that he's got to work with that might literally hold him from doing something he wants to. But I know he does have very, I won't say ambitious, I will say strongly felt plans to try and correct some of the lack of communication for the town with from the county assessor, just the general flow of information and what it all means to all the residents in Cook County, both township by township and collectively. So I'm really looking forward to his installation. That'll do it.
Thank you. Any questions for Jan? Seeing none. Acknowledgement of staff reports. We have received staff reports from all of our staff. Is there anything anyone would like to take from those reports for discussion?
No, I don't have anything. They're very thorough. The reports are always very well done.
Thank you. And I will just emphasize how excited I am for Cab Connect to finally have occurred, and thank Larisha for her dogged persistence in getting that project off of the table and onto the roads, if you will. But also thank her for a wonderful audit process. Well, we don't have the report yet, but I will say I was not bothered very much, and that was really new.
Yeah.
So, I think that stands for your backup, your records during the year, so you're not scrambling now.
Yeah.
So
Well done.
Thank you.
absolutely. As you saw, we've got a number of other programs we're kind of starting. We've started using more electronic expense reports, so everything can be tracked better, and to ensure we have the backup for all of those expenses. Anything else that anyone wants to bring for?
Yeah, you're gonna reference the oversight committee bylaws.
Did I skip that?
It's in Steve's.
It's in Steve's. Okay.
If you click on
There
where
it
it says.
goes. Got it, yeah, okay. So we did receive these bylaws from Steve. Kate, I see your hand up, please.
Hi. Going back to Larisha's report, I wanted to kind of lend my support for the veterans outreach events. I am more than excited to lend my support to that. And if there's anything that I can do personally, I think that is a great thing that we can do. I think that's one of those things that is underappreciated in this township and frankly in this generation. And I would like to kind of lend my support to that effort. Within Steve's report, outside of the context that Trustee Moser was mentioning, I'm very concerned about the loss of funding for Glenkirk and Clearbrook's efforts, especially for kind of the respite support. I think that that is something that within the construct of the um, uh, the incredible folks that help our efforts, that we do an awful lot of work with kind of that effort. And I would like to think about whether or not that's something that we can support. I'm a little bit worried about that. So I just wanted to talk about that if at all possible.
It's a good point to bring up. So what I very much appreciate is that all of those three agencies that were impacted by these large state decreases, so Jocelyn, Glencoe, Clearbrook, all have been in constant contact with us regarding this, which I very much appreciated. As for the respite for the disability services, it does sound like another nonprofit is going to pick up those clients. Now, of course, what their capacity is, we'll find out. But we have asked them to fill out our funding form, last year's funding form, so that we as a board can consider whether, since we fund programs rather than agencies, that money can be allocated to a new nonprofit for the same program. So once we receive that, I will present that to the board. Yes, Kate.
Is that something, Gail, that we could consider in an emergency basis, or that the subcommittee would have to work with? I just want to think strategically.
Right.
I don't have kind of a dog in this fight. I just want to think about how is the best way to consider kind of any proposals or money.
Right. So what I'm referring to is simply the reallocation of already allocated funds from one nonprofit to another for the same project. So that would be through the board itself, not through the committees, because they're done with that process. So I'm hopeful that at the next meeting we'll have that proposal ready for our consideration, and we won't have to wait until next spring to do that. As far as emergency funding goes, that I'm always, we've got a process on our website for off-cycle proposals for emergencies. We have on, emergency basis made such applications.
Right.
So,
and Steve is always on top of that stuff.
Exactly. And so I'm in communications with those three agencies. So is Steve, there had been discussions and there were some additional funds that were obtained. I know Jocelyn was able to obtain on the last minute basis. Thank you to our state senator, Laura Fine, who was able to really work the levers of politics to get some funding put back in. But I don't think that Glenkirk and Clearbrook saw it before the session ended, making that much more difficult. So, they know that we are happy to help in any way possible, but also I don't want to mess up anything they are working on as well.
In terms of the going back, when we had Glencoe come in for emergency funds, we took it as a board.
Yes.
We got pushback from the committee level.
Yes, they did.
So that's why.
Yes, and we clarified the process.
Okay, so you feel confident that at this point it's appropriate for the board, not the committees, to take care of that?
I do.
Okay.
Now we've clarified what is the off cycle and what is the regular cycle. That said, if time does allow for that process, I'm happy, obviously their feedback would be very important. But the whole point is to be expedited. So
I just don't want to get more pushback because we didn't get back
Absolutely.
to committee level.
right.
Thank you.
Any questions on those changes, which were shocking? So we did receive these bylaws and, sorry, Kate, yes.
Sorry, on a different item Steve had so much going on in his report. On a different item related to his report, with respect to the passport services,
Yes.
the post office I know is an entity unto itself, but recognizing that there are clearly residents and constituents of ours who are going into the post office a block and 2 doors away from us and looking for services. I wondered if there was a capacity for us to, have a half sheet, quarter sheet flyer just saying, here's how to get to us, rather than, Eric at the front desk at the post office, trying to direct people down the street. I don't know if we have the ability or the capacity to, kind of give them a flyer, or if they could even take that, would they take that? Have we looked into that? I'm away for another
That's a
month, but
great idea.
if there's interest and ability for us to do that, I'd be happy to help with that.
I will bring that up to Steve and to Heather, and we'll check in with them, so it's not step on their toes. But I appreciate that. That's a great idea. All right, on the bylaws now. Okay, on the bylaws now. And Trustee Casal, Canali, were you involved in this process?
All right.
Oh, yeah.
I'm unmuted myself. I was about a year ago at this juncture, 6 to 12 months ago, when this was first brought up. I did provide comments to Steve, and I gave some thoughts as to kind of holistic changes. This is one of those situations in which we are fortunate enough to have community representatives, and I think that it's a good idea for there to be continuity and holistic changes, but to have them be consistent throughout all of the different subcommittees. I kind of gave Steve my comments, and he to the best of my information made the changes that I had recommended.
So and I'll go through these with Steve as well, but I think a few things that I identified, I'd like to make it clear what for each committee the statutory basis for their existence. So yeah, so just pursuant to under the purpose section, especially since we don't call them necessarily the exact same thing that the statute calls them. And then I'd like to also emphasize that there's no pay. Sorry. So that's for the future. And I would like to see some method of removal. So right now, and this would be for discussion, it says if you miss 3, you should resign. But there's no mechanism for removal. I would certainly like to see by a vote of the board, an ability to remove after 3 missed meetings as well. Any discussion on that?
We used to, in the past, have written differently, as I recall, and there was a removal provision. Can we just go back to what we had previously?
It's a good question. So I'll take a look at what we had before they come back to us.
Okay.
And also we're missing the youth participation.
And that was supposed to be there.
That was supposed to be in this, yes.
Right.
Was there anything else people noted we're missing here? Okay. I think other than that, it has, it clarifies some things that are very helpful. I'd also like to see, when we talk about conflicts, us to reference the conflict policy. So that people know, where you can get more details on how we define a conflict of interest. Okay.
It's a work in progress.
Yes, this is a work in progress, nothing for us to approve today. The hope is that they are ready for the committees to operate under this fall. Any additional staff report concerns or comments? Okay. With that.
There should be popping one shortly at 7:55. He told me 10 to 15 minutes.
All right, we're hoping for James to jump on shortly. Because he is our last order of business, unless anyone has new business. Seeing none. Continuing business. Seeing none. We're now in line for the financial report.
I would move to table the financial report until next month.
but we have to verify the claims are legitimate.
I want to hear, if it all.
I get it, but if the guy's not here, what are we gonna do, my guy?
You're not here either.
Here's what I propose to do. We will go to verification of claims. And I will ask if anyone had questions on the claims. Are there any questions on the claims presented in your board packet? Kate.
Hi. Page 30 of the board report, we've got 3 uncleared checks that are over 90 days. I know that I am a
Stickler on this, which I appreciate.
yeah, I'm you know, a kind of angry old lady on this stuff, but you know, here I am. And I know that per Larisha, that we now have language on our checks that say that anything over 90 days is, you know, the check is null and void. But that being the case, you know, what are we doing with this stuff? So we've got, you know, more than $4,000 outstanding, which I know for, you know, some organizations is, you know, a de minimis amount, but you know, it's just something that I want to address, and you know, I think that it's worthwhile.
You address.
Well, first of all, I wanna say that it's not always the easiest thing to like be the liaison between this township and the accountants. So, I know that one of these checks for sure, like this $50 for the CIAO, I'm pretty sure Tim and I had a discussion about this. Some of these just might be voided, but they haven't been voided off of this report. Because I do remember revisiting this with Tim. So I can have him look into it again. I just think that it keeps on popping into this. Sometimes it's just a matter of removing it from the report because we voided it out of QuickBooks. So I feel like sometimes it's just a snag. But I will ask him again because I know that one of Jean's checks had to be rewritten. And I believe that one of these is a disability support grant check. Actually, 2 of them might be. And then one of them was an old check of Jan's that was never cashed. So that's my answer to the best of my ability.
Right. And
Is,
you did get. Go ahead. Yes, Jan.
is that check the one for a course tuition from last year?
No, it was from this year. It was for $50. It was written in March.
Yeah, it looks like there are
Was it
3 that
dues?
I'm looking at. There's one for NSSRA. That's for $2,700. There's one for the Mind Eye Institute for $1,500, and there's one for CIAO institution for $50. Sorry,
That would, it would
association
be
for
due, it
$50.
would be dues, I guess, then.
Spectacular! It's more than 90 days overdue.
Sure, no, that's fine. I mean, I don't care. I'm just surprised it wasn't cashed. It's something that gets sent off to them. It's nothing, you know, nothing of mine personally.
Yeah.
Yeah, those first 2 are community support program, which is upsetting, because here's the question, you know, so we started this year cutting the checks to the providers, right, instead of directly to the resident. But if the provider doesn't cash it, you know, shouldn't be on the residents, it's not the resident's fault. I'll have to do some mulling on how strict we're gonna be, but the whole point of the 90-day was to make sure that we could close our books. And actually have a finite process here. But it's not fair to the resident for them not to apply it to their account, so I'll work on through those as well.
Some of them can be voided items. So I want to say that we spoke about the CIAO Association for Jan's office. I do want to say that we spoke about this in another meeting, but I'll have to go back and look at those 3 things. Those disability support grants might also be voids. because it will show up on the report as uncleared, even if it is void sometimes. So it's sometimes just the language, so I'll look into it.
All right, James. And I will make you the host. So we just went through the claims. There were a few unclear transactions that are still questions as to whether or not they are voided yet. To the extent that you can clarify that, that would be helpful. Otherwise, we'll have to follow up. Were there other questions on the claims since we're already in that section? Being none, let's go back to James and then we'll go ahead and verify.
All right, good evening, everybody. Sorry I'm late. It's the last time I try to put 5 meetings in a 2-hour time frame. So let's go through the 4 months ended June 30th. We're 33% of the way through. You can see half the tax money is in. Remember, we're probably going to have some more delays up ahead in terms of the second installment, but we've received about 1.7 million or 47% of what was budgeted. Replacement tax on the number at 33% received, about 19,000 there. Interest looks good. We're an outperform there, about 25,000, or almost half has been taken in. And then passport fees also looking very strong at 17,000 collected, or 57%. So all in, we're at about 1.8 million for the top line. We're at 46% of the budget year to date. As we go down into the expenditures, again, most of this all in green, meaning we're at or below that 33%. Just some contractual services. We know we have some timing of bills that are paid early on in our fiscal year. We can take a look at those in just a second, but again, those are more contractual in nature. You see that's at 44%, and then some other expenses at 47%, but not a big number here, so nothing too concerning. Personnel in and on the number at 33, and about 545,000 spent year to date. We've got a $4.1 million budget, so we're at 13% all in. Again, looking very good, a surplus of about 1.26 million. We started with about 2.9 million, so we're at about 4.1 million in ending fund balance. Again, all green across the board in terms of the fund expenditures, as well as the line accounts. In terms of the distribution, property taxes at 97%, replacement tax 1, interest 1, passport fees about 1. Then on the expenditure side, personnel is going to be the biggest slice of the pie here at about 31%. And then as we kind of go around, pantry 5, financial assistance 17, building town hall 9, assessor 5, contractual about 20%, childcare 10. No agencies yet; those are coming. Elected officials at 3%. So it's always nice to
this
see.
report and and my report, obviously, we did cut those checks. They just aren't reflected on this report.
That's correct. Because this is through June. Revenues over expenditures is half of that tax money's in. And then again, you can see here the same percentages as discussed, just broken out into finite detail here. The summer camp scholarships, you see that's gone out at about 54%. And again, we talked about the agencies here, just to point out those contractual services, civic clerk, audio, and doc access, both of those paid in full, as well as some of these other categories like the audit. That's at already 80%. So a lot of this just paid up front in the year. As we scroll down a little bit further, just to take you to our investments. Again, you can see we've moved some more money back to Sawyer Faldudo, about 2.2 million there for the town fund, and about 885,000 for GA. Again, that's earning probably better than 3.5%. I don't expect the Fed to move anytime soon. I mean, right now they're talking about rate hikes versus before it was rate cuts. So again, if they do decide to hike at the next meeting, again, that helps us in terms of investment income. Again, they're still trying to battle inflation with everything going on in the global economy. Now, 4.1 million across all accounts there. Outside of that, if you've already done the verification of claims, I'd be happy to take any other questions on the financials.
Other questions on the financials?
I had one. Are we in any jeopardy having too much money in the accounts again and having any outsiders come in and question it and file suit like they used to? I know we haven't had one for several years, but they used to say we had too much money in our account and they used to sue us. So I don't want to get into that situation again.
Yeah, no, to draw tax objection, you'd really be looking at like your non-major funds. Again, most of our fund balance, as you saw, was in our town fund. And again, you'd have to have north of 200% of your fund expenditures, built up in that fund. Again, our budget is 3.4 million, and we've got about 3.6 million right now. We won't end the year in that big a surplus. So again, I think we're going to be well within that 200% of the prior year's expenditures. So we would not draw a tax objection at this point.
Okay,
And
thank you.
and remember, we've worked hard too to bring down our GA fund balance. That was the one that of both, that one would be in jeopardy, and now it's not anymore. We've done really considerable work on that over the last few years.
Okay, thank you.
Sure.
All right, with that, is there a motion, trustee Moser, on the verification of claims?
I'll move to approve the financial report as presented this evening.
All those in favor of approving the financial report?
Second.
Yes.
Second.
All those in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Great. All right, approval of claims.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to approve the claims made against the town fund and general assistance fund from June 1st, 2026 to June 30th, 2026, as presented to the board this evening on July 14th, 2026, and as attached to the minutes for this month's meeting.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
All right, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Supervisor Eisenberg,
Aye.
trustee Peterson,
Aye.
trustee Moser.
Aye.
Thank you. We're now in line for a motion to adjourn. Is there such a motion?
So moved.
All those in favor, please say aye.
Second.
I thought I heard a second.
I'll second.
All
Yeah.
right.
There's only so many of us.
Folks, gotta have.
Now, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Seeing none, it is approved. I'll see you on August 11th. Thank you all.
Good
Night, folks.
Safe travels, Kate.
Hi, everybody.